Welcome back. We're still with a special advisor to the President on social investment. Thank you for joining us once again. Now, still on the social protection plan, your office is planning to create a social register in collaboration with the World Bank. Tell us more about this.
What we're doing is trying to create an authentic register of beneficiaries so that it can be utilized by both the state and the federal government. And indeed, even beyond that, individuals who want to target and support people, they can be sure that those people are deserving. So what we're doing is setting up the structures for going into communities and having discussions with the community on what poverty means to them, and then asking them to tell us which households in those communities fall within the parameters they have defined. And then we put them in plenary, all of them together, and we read out the households, and we are looking for their endorsement. Once they agree that those households deserve to be supported by the government, we will now ask them to elect a grievance redressal officer. So if there's any error in terms of inclusion, that person may appear poor, but he has grandchildren in the States that send him money every month, he really shouldn't be on this list. Or
so there will be an officer in each state, one officer?
In each community,
right.
They will have a grievance redressal. We're setting up a mechanism so it can be elevated. And also people that have been excluded, that ought to have been, so that will be a continuous process. And that register will be subjected to verification every 2 to 3 years, to weed out those that have actually been successfully graduated out of poverty, and to put in those that actually need to stay and need to be included, or to retain those that need to really be monitored over the period. Now, once we have that list, we go back into and meet those households with a device to get the information on that household. So what assets do you have? What income do you have, if any? How many youth are productive or potentially productive? How many children? How many have gone to school? Get all that information down. And that is the information we put on the register, because that information will be necessary for us when we begin to do the cash transfers. Now, that information is hosted in the Ministry for Planning in each state, because we're hoping that that register would be available beyond what the federal government is planning to do. The state itself can use the information for planning. It can also give the information to those who want to support maybe everybody above 70 in that age. They could just go there and get the information, or just say, this is the money I have, send it to those people. We now upload the same information to the federal server, which is at the moment at NIBS. And we intend to retain it there. We want to keep all our information in Nigeria. And NIBS has been really great. They've bought the hardware, and we've been uploading the information as we get it. They are the payment system. They will manage our program.
So when the monies come out, sometimes we see the transparency build, and right after the money emerges, then a lot of hanky-panky begins. How are you going to monitor this?
It's the more people monitor, the better for us.
Exactly.
This is what we're hoping to do, and this is why we've invited the NGOs. The Ministry of Budget and Planning keeps our money. We don't have access to it. All I do is trigger payments when I'm satisfied that we have the beneficiaries. Now, the beneficiaries will be mined from that register. So if we're saying children need to go to school, it's from those households that we'll take out. And the caregivers, which are the mothers, will be taken out and paid directly. And we've had a series of engagements with banks, and we've done some procurement. Of course, it's going to be much larger, where we have to open up the space to many more banks, but the banks have agreed to pay at location. So they are going into all kinds of arrangements to pay in the communities through money agents, telcos, whatever it is. But we're determined that our poor people don't have to travel anywhere to get 5,000 naira. And if you're going to use money agents, you need to have at least 4 or 5 in that community, because we don't want to create demigods and go and come back, you know, okay, give me 3,000 if you want 2,000, that kind of thing. And we're trying to get as many people onto this platform and to get people to begin to save. And the only way people can save is if you reduce money. Of course, in the beginning, because there are no bank branches in many of these places, no ATMs, but with time, if women know on the 15th of each month, I'm getting this amount of money, then they begin to plan. They
For
don't
a particular business that you're going to monitor? Or
no, this is the cash transfer.
Okay, just
this is grants. Those are handouts.
Each week?
No, it's every month. You see, you'd be surprised. There are already there are conditional cash transfers
yes,
for malnutrition in Zamfara and Jigawa. I hope to go to Zamfara to go and study it, but I've seen to see it myself.
Sustained by the present administration?
No, it's being run by DFID, and they pay 3,500, and the women are actually saving 500 naira every month now, and it has made a difference to the consumption. And their children are looking much better. They're doing much better. I think, you know, Nigerians are very skeptical about small amounts, but if you live in the communities, food is actually much cheaper. And if you're encouraged to grow your own food, we're having to look inwards now in terms of a lot of things, you know. And I don't know, I mean, posterity will judge what is going on now, but really 5,000 may appear very little now, but for many people back home, if you give them 5,000, you've helped them, and 5,000 every month is something that is meaningful for many of them. We're also planning on livelihood support anyway. So livelihood support is targeting the youth in those households, and we're looking at what is available in the communities and engaging the youth to be productive. So if it's agriculture, if it's construction of boreholes, whatever it is that the community decides, we will train the youth and we will give an amount of money, anything between 80 to 100,000 after a period of 18 months of coaching and mentoring. That is meant to graduate the family out of poverty.
There's this poll done by UNICEF in collaboration with the Office of the Vice President, and they reveal that the biggest social challenge in the country is unemployment, poverty, you know, amongst others. Do you see us getting out of it anytime soon?
I just have to be optimistic, you see. For me, failure doesn't feature at all. We've got a program called Empower, and without the publicity that ought to have accompanied the idea, we've been able to register over 700,000 young people, graduates and artisans and women and, you know, cooperatives. We've got them onto that platform, and from every single local government in this country, they've applied. And it's about working in the communities, teaching in primary schools. They'll get a device. It may not be much, it's 23,000 every month, but you are sure of getting that money. And you will go and either teach in primary schools or do agricultural extension work. We've collaborated very closely with the Ministry of Agriculture. And they want agricultural extension workers in the communities. So we're going to be training young people, graduates, who want to go into the communities and talk about testing soil and the kind of crops that can grow and the kinds, I mean, how you can improve, and the technology that's available, and enumeration. Let us even know the numbers of farmers that are out there, you know. And then there's also a crop of those that want to go into public health. We're working with the Federal Ministry of Health to develop modules on hygiene and sanitation. We have young people out there in the communities talking to them about safe water, talking to them about hygiene and sanitation. Then we have a block of those that will be doing adult and civic education.
Thank you so much for joining us on the program this
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.